the American debt has reached $35 trillion. As you can see, we are already in summer, but I want to ask you something very important. Today, I'm going to pose what, in my humble opinion, is the most crucial question from a citizen's perspective, because your answer will determine your economic future. Here is the question. Have we already reached a point of no return in the American economy? Look at this chart. As you can see, there are two lines. The purple line represents the interest expenses, the interest bill that the United States government is paying, and the black line represents defense spending. As you can see, the interest bill has already surpassed defense spending. This is outrageous. And what is the future trend of the interest bill? To answer this question, I would like you to consider the public deficit data for June. As you can see, the US public deficit data for June 2024 is the second highest in history for a June month, only surpassed by June 2020. This clearly shows that the US public deficit is out of control.
Now, if you look at the accumulated deficits for 2024, as you can see in this chart, the accumulated deficit for 2024, just for the year so far, is already higher than that of 2023. But here comes the most significant part. The Congressional Budget Office, which had estimated a public deficit for 2024 of $1.5 trillion, has revised it to $1.9 trillion and will probably fall short. This means a 30% correction. This is outrageous. What do these facts reflect? Well, these facts reflect that we have reached a point of no return. If you consider that accumulated public deficits must be financed with public debt issuance, it is crucial to steer clear of US public debt, and certainly European debt too. The interest bill, therefore, will increase. Defense spending, with the theatrics they put on, will increase. Social spending will obviously increase if the current governments want to stay in power. Thus, it is undeniable that achieving balance is impossible. Governments will not reach a budgetary equilibrium, a zero fiscal deficit, or even a surplus. So, in this environment, what should we do? Well, we need to protect ourselves from our governments. How can we protect ourselves?
Here, I have three charts comparing the price of an asset with the price of the 30-year American bond via the ETF, TLT. Let's first look at the price of gold. As you can see in this chart, which shows the ratio between the gold price in dollars and the famous ETF, TLT, which invests in American bonds with maturities over 20 years. You can see that the gold price compared to TLT is in a clear uptrend, currently in a lateral phase, but the trend is obviously upwards. Now, if you look at Bitcoin, you see the same thing. This Bitcoin, so disliked by governments and central banks, is performing much better than the public debt issued by governments, which is pure garbage. Let's look at the SP 500. As you can imagine, the trend compared to the SP 500 is also upwards. The SP 500 versus the 30-year American bond is undoubtedly in an uptrend. So, it's clear what we citizens must do to protect ourselves from our government's fiscal waste. Today, the US stock market is open. So let's take a look at Bitcoin. What is happening with Bitcoin? Well, with Bitcoin, what we're seeing is people selling.
People are buying put options, and as you can see in this chart of the last 6 days, there have been outflows from Bitcoin ETFs on 5 of those days. People are withdrawing money, opening short positions, and buying put options. This is good because it anticipates the formation of a bottom more or less soon. We don't know exactly when it will happen. You can see a first support level at around 64,000 and a second one at around 60,000. For now, the short-term trend is bearish. We've seen a rebound, so let's see how the ETF and Bitcoin perform around the 64,000 or 60,000 zone to see if a bottom really forms. I'm not a fortune teller, but I believe it will.
In my opinion, as you can see in this chart, Bitcoin is moving laterally. I think it's consolidating to launch a new upward leg. Moreover, as I mentioned earlier, Bitcoin's strength, regardless of technical aspects, which I'm not an expert on, is highlighted by the fiscal disaster we are facing. The public deficit is out of control, and public debt issuances will be rampant. Therefore, these types of assets, Bitcoin, gold, and even high-quality stocks, have a significant upward trend ahead.